Hey guys, it's Preston from Welfit. Thanks for taking the time out to watch this video quickly. I just wanted to go through some of the stuff that we've been making for the last 2 months, trying to get some of our masks that we manufacture in Durban through certification and through some testing. Please excuse all my facial hair and lack of hair in my head. Nothing I can do about that, but for now, I just want to show you a couple of things that we're pretty proud of. Specifically how we made the masks and why we made the masks. If you look at some of the masks that come overseas from China, the stuff that everyone's been talking about around the world, that's called the N95. You'll see that this one specifically has got a loop around the back for the ears, and so that doesn't fit at the top and bottom of your head. It does have a nose piece, which is great if you want to stop some of the hot air from coming from when you exhale and fogging up your glasses, or if you've got goggles on working as a doctor, or even in a mask with the shield, it often fogs up. So that's called the N95. This was the first model that we produced that's made out of material called scuba, and it's basically the same stuff that we would use if we were making costumes for ladies. This specifically is what we'd use for the top of a bikini, and it's great and easy to breathe through, but the problem is that the first mask we made had absolutely no protection. You can see the inside of the seam and the stitching and stuff. There's no lining. It has got an elastic band for the top and the bottom of the head, which is great, but the only problem with that is that it is, even though it's comfortable, this entire mask wasn't made for what we're experiencing now. So COVID specifically is spread through particles. I'll show you just a little spray technique now. So if you imagine somebody sneezing near you, you can see that it's starting to, the liquid itself actually adheres to the material. And what we found was that if you could find some sort of liquid chemical called a blood guard, that will be able to stop some of the liquid from penetrating through the material. So I hope you're able to see this, but you'll basically see beading on top of the mask, which is a lot better. So that's in our second, third, and fourth iterations of the mask. I'll quickly start with the commuter. At the moment, the problem for a lot of companies is that you got to replace some of the surgical masks that you guys have been using every day, or even with the cloth ones, you're able to wash it. But they are asking that you wash it at 60 degrees and that you push it through a hot iron when you're done. With the materials and chemicals that we've used specific to these masks, called silver iron, that allows us to let you wear the mask, but then you come home and wash it every day. And it doesn't have to be at 60 degrees, it's just cold water, and you don't need to iron it when you're done. So that saves a lot of time and energy as well, especially if you've got masks for the entire family and you're basically the person that's responsible for that. So this is what we call the commuter mask. It's great for people that just can be traveling quickly to the shops and back. You can see that it's got no lining on the inside, except for one layer, and that's specifically to stop any of the stitching from the middle of the mask from touching your face and your nose, because that can get quite irritating over some time. And that is the problem we basically had with that first mask, which we'll call the bikini mask. So that's our commuter. The second one is called the silver iron, and I like to call this the runner mask, because the tests that we've done between the three masks show that as soon as we've got our special material on the inside, which can help us to stop some of the particles from getting to your face, it is also treated still on the outside with blood guards. It stops any liquid penetration. As you can see, the water will bead on the outside and not go through. In the middle, we've got that special foam layer that's basically helping us as a filter for any of the small particles that can come through. We're still in the certification process for all of our masks, so we can't certify that this is meeting any international standard or World Health Organization standard, SANS or SABS. But wherever possible, we'll show you, as soon as we get those certifications in the coming months, we'll be able to share that with you. What's unique to our mask is that we're always making sure that there is a metal nose bridge at the top. It just depends on what metals we can get at this time, under level 4 lockdown and level 5 when we started with this whole process. It's quite difficult to get hold of materials, but At this point in time, we've just got a mixed material in the front, which helps us to adhere those chemicals for the front, which is silver iron. That's antibacterial and also blood guard, so that stops any liquid from going through. The silver iron is really just helping with bacteria, which the whole mask is treated with, besides that filter in the middle, which is basically to stop that little virus from coming through. The last layer is just the inner layer, and this is called spongy. It's the same stuff that you find on the inside of your costume, your swimming costume, and that is basically that. So if you look at the chin piece, we've got a piece underneath the chin. At the top we've got this nose bridge, so that helps just with the people that wear glasses and have got to wear these shields as well. This model we call the runner, and that's sort of the middle range mask with the antibacterial stuff, plus that special material foam. All of this, guys, is made in South Africa, so that's another key thing if you're interested in that. The last one is called our VEDA, and when we do send this for certification overseas to the FDA and to Europe for CE certification, this will be the one that goes. And this is sort of the top of the range one. It's slightly bigger than the silver iron one. It gives you a little bit more protection. It's still got the nose bridge. It's still got the chin guard at the bottom. It's still got adjustable straps at the back. It is 3 layers, so the first and front again, silver guard and blood guard and silver iron. In the middle we've got that special filter made in South Africa from the same people that make filters for your car, HEPA filters that go in for your air conditioning. And then the third layer again is just that spongy, which we use to make it a little bit more comfortable for your face. So this is the same stuff that you'll find on the inside of your swimming trunks. Now, for all 3 of these, how you look after them is the same. You wash them in cold water. For the other 2, Mask 2 and Mask 3, which we call the runner and the VEDA, these specific 2 masks, you're going to need to take that filter out each time that you wash it. You can use that filter about 10 trips to the shops, or 10 days at work for about 8 hours. And after that, discard this foam which we provide on the inside. That little piece of paper will come out and you swap it in with new pieces of filter paper or filter foam, and that basically will allow you to reuse this mask ad eternum. The only thing that does go away is this blood guard thing. After about 20 washes, it just depends on how often you're washing it, how often you're wearing it. As I said, guys, we're still in certification phase, so it's going to take us some time to get you scientific evidence. But basically that blood guard that allows the masks to stop the liquid from going through, that eventually goes away after about 40 washes. But if you consider that this costs on average about 47 up to about $100, depending. The stuff from China is a little bit cheaper, obviously, for manufacturing reasons. The stuff that comes from the States, also called the N95 FFP2, those can go up to about 180 Rand at the moment, just because of the shortage. But if you think of this one, we're looking at 2 to 3 uses. We've been told that you can spray them with alcohol and let them dry out. If you've not been in close contact with patients, if you have been with patients, probably about 2 or 3 days, and sprayed with hydrogen peroxide after, but well ventilated after, without anyone touching it, keeping it away from the kids, and making sure that you're never touching the front of the mask with your hands before, on, or after using the mask. So that difference there is using this at about, let's say, 50 Rand for 3 days, versus having a mask that you could potentially use 40 times. So you could say that this could potentially be up to like 2,000 Rands worth if you're going to be using it for the next 2 or 3 months while we work through COVID and trying to get through basically all of the lockdowns that we've been put through. So I hope that wraps up for you exactly what you're looking at when you are thinking about buying one of our masks. Thank you for looking at the products that we've made. And please share this video with anyone else that you can, that you think might benefit from getting one of these masks. Remember 2 things. Number 1, we have no certification yet at this point, and we're going to have to wait until the lockdown is completely over before we can travel and get some of the certification that's going to be required with different labs around the world. At this point in time, logistics is pretty tough out of South Africa, but hopefully in the coming 2 or 3 months, and with some additional funding, we were able to get the tests that we need, because the tests, guys, are very costly. We've been quoted stuff around $2,000 an hour, $2,000 an hour just for the FDA stuff, speaking to a consultant, working with her. And then with another team in South Africa called BSI, looking at about £11,000, taking the masks that we've got here over to the UK and testing them there, plus the Netherlands as well. As you know, Brexit means that CE will split between the UK and Europe. So Europe will have a separate standard potentially from what the UK does, but not for the next 3 years. So we're going to try and get some of these masks to you guys as soon as possible. The factories are working out flat out at the moment across the whole of KZN. And one more thing, it's a product made in South Africa by South Africans. The textiles that we're using all from South Africa. Some of the chemicals that we have to bring in at the moment are not made here, so we have to import those. But in due course, we'll be able to try and find some chemical company that can partner with us. Somebody big like a Sasol that can help us with the formulation to make the stuff truly 100% South African. And I think that's the key message for us as Welfit. We started the entire business not only for these masks, but for scrubs for doctors, with the antibacterial protection, with antiviral protection. And hopefully that makes more jobs. Our aim is to get at least 80 people working consistently for Welfit. At the moment, we've got 2 working from home. But I think anytime that you employ somebody and you start to pay a salary and you start to pay UIF and they pay tax, you start to contribute to the economy. So even if it's very small, and even though we're going through really tough times now as South Africans, I'm pretty sure that with products like the ones that we've just shown you, South Africans will be resilient and we'll be able to rise up from whatever we faced during the time of COVID. We've been through tougher times before. So stay at home for as long as you can. Please buy some of our masks. Get in touch with me if you've got any questions about manufacturing. And a quick shout out to my team, to everyone that's worked with me. In terms of design, in terms of my people doing our graphic design, the factories and all the ladies working down at CMTs in Durban. Thank you very much for all of your work and efforts. So thanks. Next time I'll have a haircut and a shave before I do this.